1 year ago, I committed the greatest sin known to man, making fun of Daima.
Because I touch grass, I look at trees, I go to work, I live my life. I'm not chronically online all the time. If you want something to complain about Daima.
Give me a break.
Oh, but Spaghetti Jacob, you can't do that. This was Akira Toriyama's last work.
Yeah! And it's trash! Okay, look, let us establish something right now. I am a Dragon Ball channel. I clearly love Akira Toriyama's work. However, I do not agree with gatekeeping criticism from Daima just because it was one of his last works. I love Akira Toriyama in many regards.
Smash.
And just because I do not like Daima does not mean I hate Akira Toriyama. But let us begin from the start to understand why I do not like this show. Well, when we first opened up the show, we are greeted with some of the most glorious animation and artwork that Dragon Ball has ever seen. Dare I say, even rivaling the Broly movie. God, if the entire show looks like this, I think I might actually bust. Oh my God, Dragon Ball is so bad. What the fuck? Oh yeah, remember that show that was made almost 3 decades ago where they did that exact same thing and nobody liked it? Why don't we do it again? But this time, everybody's a kid! At least GT had the benefit of not being canon so that we could actively choose to remember the good parts and straight up ignore all the bad. But we do not have that luxury with Daima because this shit is canon! Good luck explaining that to your friends, normies!
Well, actually, everything is canon according to Toyotaro.
Oh! Is that the case? Alright, then Vados X Goku is canon. Dragon Ball Evolution is canon. And best of all, Goku and Vegeta Love is canon! What is your obsession with kids? Do I need to call CPS?
Akira Toriyama, we need to cook Kid Enemy.
Like, how are we learning the exact same lessons all over again, just in a modern format? Well, I actually do know why. It was so Akira Toriyama had an excuse to return Dragon Ball to its former glory. The typical adventure crap. Oh yeah, remember that show from 3 decades ago that did the exact same thing and nobody liked it? I swear, with all these parallels, it is as easy to call this show a modern GT as it is to subscribe to Super Kami Jacob. But I get it. Akira Toriyama was tired of creating Dragon Ball and just wanted to move on. Fair enough. But if he didn't want to keep creating the same series like this, then why didn't he just give it to Toyotaro, who was clearly still interested in making Dragon Ball in the same way? I get that Toyotaro needs a mentor and all that, but why does Akira Toriyama still need to be directly involved with all the story elements if he's just gonna actively shoehorn it in the ass? Because look, in my opinion, all this adventure crap could have been cut way shorter. Look, I get it if Adventure Time is your cup of tea, but as a Dragon Ball fan that wants to see some hands being thrown from oiled up buff men, it is not mine! And in my opinion, all of this adventure crap could have been cut way shorter since most of the characters in this section don't even leave a lasting impact on the story whatsoever and are basically never seen again. Tell me, Daima Watchers, do you remember the Fairlife cow? How about the Chinese knockoff Ginyu Force? Maybe that giant episode? How about that random ass village getting raided by Goma's OnlyFans subscribers? Well, if you said no, that is because all of this shit is completely irrelevant. You see, as a fellow empath from my proud Reddit r/I'm14 and this is deep, I can see that the only plot relevance this shit has in the show is how it builds up anticipation for the final fight of the series, and that is literally it. Daima, unironically, could have been shortened to 12 episodes and it would actively make the show better. And besides, the only reason they get turned into kids, aside from the adventure BS, it's because Goma, the main villain of the show, is 3'4". Oh yeah, this is Goma, by the way. Probably the most boring and useless villain, literally of all time. With his only rival being Make-A-Wish.com Krillin having it. He actively does nothing in the story for the entire duration until he gets a power-up that makes him unstoppable. And that is literally it. I swear, this is the last time I believe Supreme Kai when he says a villain is tough because the literal only thing that kept this dude relevant was a third eye. Without that third eye, Goku could have just beat Majin Buu, taken the Dragon Balls to turn them into adults again, and break into the castle to save El Dente. Because what is Goma going to do? Install another ring camera? He doesn't even use the first one! They call him super crafty and dangerous. But he does literally nothing! Anybody in this entire story could have punted this dude like a kickball. So what is stopping them? Goma is not cool, but something that is actually cool about this show are the Tamagami. See, I love the concept behind them guarding the Dragon Balls to keep them out of the hands of greedy bastards. It's certainly a lot more than any of these frauds did, and honestly, I got no complaints for them. They are solid. Just like me, for real. I do wish that we got to see more of them though. Like earlier in the show, when we see the fusion bugs, it literally shows a picture with 3 dudes in it, kind of indicating that it's possible for 3 people to fuse into one being. And there are 3 Tamagami. So like, why couldn't we see a fusion between all 3 of these dudes? That would actually be so awesome. Now look, I don't know where this would actually fit into the show, but I would gladly take it over any of the 7 episodes of adventure bullshit that we got. Speaking of bullshit, I got more. The plot Bs of this show are literally pointless. Firstly, we got Globio, a dude who seems like he could be a schemer and low-key sus kinda like iDubbbz. And we find out that he quite literally is because he works for an OnlyFans girl. But in the end, with the power of friendship and post-nut clarity, he decides to go the optimal route of being unemployed. Although he's probably gonna be back in a month when the funds run dry from his subscription to Rule 34+. And that is basically Grebo. Secondly, we got Supreme Kai's brother. I'm gonna call this dude Tanner, because he wishes he could with his pale ass, who does literally nothing for the entire show but shut off the warp gate zone, which anyone else could have done. And that is basically Tanner. I am not even kidding, that is literally all he does. And lastly, we got Supreme Kai's sister. Let's call her Emily. She kinda does stuff, like summon her Discord mod and her Reddit mod to spend all their money on her OnlyFans at full power. And with the power of gooning, they actually managed to beat a Tamagami. But after that, her relevance in the show is basically non-existent and she literally does nothing else. In fact, the entire show gets flipped on its head when Goma transforms because nothing else actually matters anymore. Fuck Demon World domination. Fuck Majin Ku, Majin Wupu. We got Chinese knockoff Jiren over here.
Guys, isn't it crazy how everyone in Universe 11 kind of looks like Goma? Who the fuck is that?
Seriously? Fuck this old guy. He does literally nothing in the show but be a constant pain in my ass. Bro pulls up, reactivates the Dragon Balls prematurely. Oh, okay, something every other Namekian could not do, but I guess he kind of special like that. He then brings them all to one location so they don't have to search for them because he's just special like that. Breaks the barriers that allow the Warp Guy's deactivation to be completely pointless within a single episode just cause he's special like that. Whole Super Saiyan 4 out of Goku's ass. Hey yo! Like this dude Herb the Perv or some shit. Just cause he's special like that! And speaking of Super Saiyan 4, I've got mixed feelings about this form. Because for one, the design is ass. GT Super Saiyan 4 at least had drip, depth, and a real primal look that the other forms did not. Daima Super Saiyan 4, however, is redder than the average time of the month and has hands that are bigger than the Roman Empire. It also lacks the drip and the primal look that the GT Super Saiyan 4 had. These orange pants, I get it, they make sense, but they do not suit Super Saiyan 4 whatsoever. I mean, at least he didn't hit the starfish pose though. Also, can we talk about how they casually just pulled this tail out of Goku's literal ass and ignored all the actual cool parts about Super Saiyan 4 being connected to the Ozaru form and requiring for it to actually be relevant again? No! Let's just summon Herb the Perv over here and touch Kid Goku to hand him Super Saiyan 4 on a silver platter. Oh, and he doesn't have a tail? No biggie! Herb the Perv is just special like that! Okay, and look, Super Saiyan 4, when it is actually in action, is absolutely sick. It's badass, the fights are great, and the animation is spectacular. But the fact that this form was pulled out of literally nowhere bothers me, and I cannot get over that.
Oh, but Super Kami Jacob, Goku was actually training for Super Saiyan 4 the entire time.
Oh yeah? You mean when he mentions it in the literal last minute of the last episode of the series? And how the hell was he even doing that? Was bro trying to pull the tail out of his ass with the pliers from Harbor Freight? Cause I fail to see how Goku would be training to pull off this form in the first place. Not to mention that he literally only got it because of Herb the Perv. I don't care if his potential was unleashed or some shit. Super Saiyan 4 was still given to him like he's an industry plant, like the OSB boy. But how about the last few episodes of the show? Actually, pretty good. The fights were really good, and the overall pace was really good as well. I just wish we had more of this throughout the entirety of Daima, rather than all the adventure BS, because all this budget that we had for this Dragon Ball show went to Goku fighting some literal bandits, which sure, can be entertaining for one episode, but an entire 7 episodes is just ridiculous. And the final fights of the series just kind of happen and don't really feel impactful. Goma has no emotional connection to the cast whatsoever. He's just kind of an evil dude that exists for the sake of existing. And that is basically Daima. What? You want me to mention Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and the fact that he won against a clanker? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba!